Next on NBC 16 at 5, Oregon teachers and parents are calling for action against in-person classes. Plus, law professors speak about the legality of ongoing protests in Portland.
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 5.
It makes me nervous to have a group of children, any group, together.
Uneasy and uncertain about heading back to school. This as school districts across Oregon are developing plans for fall, which some parents say is frustrating. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Mazer. The state of Oregon is working on a plan to get students back into the classroom this fall. At a webinar today, the head of the Oregon Department of Education acknowledged just how much of an undertaking it's going to be.
We know that we carry this heavy responsibility to ensure the safety of our children, our staff, and the families they return to each day.
Parents, you may start to hear the word cohorting, where a specific group of students and teachers are kept together. Public health says cohorting could help limit exposure.
What it means is if there's an infection in that group, it can be contained to that group. You know who to contact trace in that group, and you have a much better chance of controlling and not having widespread.
The director of the Oregon Health Authority says this grouping will have the biggest impact on students. Meanwhile, the state is working to get about 5 million masks from the federal government to distribute them to schools. And as the return to school deadline approaches, a growing group of Oregon teachers and parents is calling on state officials and school districts to hold off on in-person classes. They want to see a 14-day stretch with no new coronavirus cases before children head back to the classroom. Our Kelsey Christensen reports tonight.
Being a parent to young kids during a pandemic is a whole other level of parenting these days, especially getting your child with sensory issues to wear a mask.
So for him to have it on for 6 to 7 hours, he can do it, but that's a lot to ask.
Chrissy Brubaker is a mom to 2 young students in the Salem-Keizer district. She's part of a new Facebook group with more than 10,000 Oregon parents and teachers, asking state and school officials to hold off on student return until their area has no new cases of COVID-19 for 14 days. Brubaker's concern is for her vulnerable family members the kids see often and her children's well-being.
We don't know, sure, my kids are healthy, strong kids, and if they get it, they probably would survive. It wouldn't be a walk in the park, but they probably would survive. But how's it going to affect them when they're 30, 40 years old?
Brubaker chose online learning for her boys until she feels it's safe to return in person. In the Eugene area, parents have the same option. Both 4J and Bethel school districts have parent choice of either a hybrid model of online and in-person or just 100% remote learning. But other school districts like Junction City are still deciding what the school year will look like.
Usually I have about between 24 and 28 students a year.
Do you even have enough room to social distance?
No.
Second grade teacher Tara Cleveland says she doesn't feel comfortable going back to school just yet, and she's worried about the students if they return at the same time.
A lot of our students are low income. A lot of our students are children of color. They're known to be more susceptible to this illness.
The Junction City School District says it will release a plan for the new school year by August 15th. Reporting in Eugene, I'm Kelsey Christensen.
All right, thanks for that report tonight, Kelsey. Now, the group says a caravan parade in Salem is planned for next Monday in hopes of attracting more attention to their demands. The Oregon Department of Education says schools will select a return model based on multiple factors. ODE and OHA will draft new criteria in the coming days to help school districts that haven't already made a decision. Now, in addition to grade school, we're learning more about how Oregon State and University of Oregon are preparing for the upcoming school year. Both universities are planning to have in-person classes of less than 50 students. Larger classes will be remote or a hybrid of both in-person and online. In the classroom, both universities are attempting to control the crowds with one-way traffic and or dedicated entrances and exits. U of O will allow for more transition time between classes, and Oregon State is keeping students in larger classrooms.
Some students will learn in very physically distanced classrooms at about anywhere from 1/3 to 50% occupancy.
Both schools are getting rid of triple occupancy dorm rooms. Oregon State has partnerships with local counties and is planning to randomly test up to 4,000 people weekly to help gauge if COVID cases in the area are increasing or decreasing. Both universities are also working on isolation areas. UO is setting aside entire section of residence halls for the possibility. Under Governor Brown's rules, both campuses require people to wear masks indoors and outside if they can't maintain at least 6 feet of social distance. Turning to coronavirus cases statewide, Oregon Health Authority reports 331 new confirmed and presumptive cases. That's more than 15,700 cases across the state. 2 more deaths were reported today, also raising the state total, unfortunately, to 273. Multnomah County still has the most cases with more than 3,700. Continuing coverage on protests in Portland. Early this morning, federal officers tear-gassed Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler and a crowd of protesters as they stood at the fence surrounding the federal courthouse. Mayor Ted Wheeler was met with opposition, chanting, and was even asked to resign last night as he attended protests. He took questions from people for hours. Meanwhile, Portland police declared a riot just after 12:30, but say they did not help with a federal response or make any arrests. And the situation in Portland doesn't appear to be calming down anytime soon, but what impact will this have in the future? Our Stephanie Rothman spoke with University of Oregon professors about what protests mean, not only for Oregon, but for the entire country. She joins us live tonight. Now, Stephanie, what are their thoughts on the protests in Portland?
Jacqueline, it certainly means quite a lot for those in Portland and now Chicago as well, as President Trump plans to send federal officers there as well. A University of Oregon political science professor and law professor, they both believe this is an unprecedented time in history. The main question is whether or not sending federal officers is constitutional. While the law professor I spoke with says technically yes, the president has the power to send officers to protect federal property. The difference is there are numerous reports of officers straying from the courthouse and taking protesters for questioning off-site. This, she says, is a violation of rights.
They cannot, grab a person and, detain them against their will, which is an arrest, without probable cause to believe they committed a crime, and not just any crime, but a federal crime, right? Because they don't have any authority or power to be there enforcing, the laws of Portland and the laws of Oregon.
She points out that under the 10th Amendment, the states have the power to police their own way without interference from the federal government. The 10th Amendment reads, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by its states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. This means going back to the founding principles that we have a separation of powers for a reason. And of course, since the federal officers stepped foot in Portland, the mayor and state attorney general have both spoken out against them. The attorney general, Ellen Rosenblum, she even files a restraining order, which is currently being discussed. I'll have more from Adam Schoen and the UO political science professor I spoke with at 5:30. He discusses the political currency this holds for President Trump. Jacqueline.
Police officers should not look like the military. And, I will argue with anybody against that.
It's a debate in Oregon and across the nation, police reform or defunding the police, and how the community discussion will unfold. NBC 16's Tom Adams is back at 5:30 with part 2 of his special report on the police reform question. Former police officer and current state senator James Manning of Eugene will weigh in with other experts on this debate tonight on NBC 16 News at 5:30. Well, coming up next on NBC 16 at 5, we'll be live from a new homeless shelter in downtown Eugene, where resources local teens will now be able to benefit from.
I'm sexy and I know it.
Welcome back. A new homeless shelter is now helping young people in downtown Eugene. The shelter is called Recharge. Our Cassandra Gutierrez joins us live at the First United Methodist Church tonight. Now, Cassandra, this shelter is much more than just a roof for teens.
Jacqueline, that's right. I'm here outside of First United Methodist Church where the Recharge Shelter by Youth Era is taking place. Now, they provide services for local homeless youth in the community, and they also geared helping support and provide guidance. Now, the CDC did recommend that in order to help stop the spread of COVID-19 among the homeless population, several task forces would need to come together, and that's exactly what's happening inside of here. Many local communities have came together and have helped each other, and this is positive for a lot of people. That's what they're telling me. Employees tell me that homeless youth have already started opening their hearts up to the caring community members helping out in here, and that's a huge step for this population.
My heart is impacted every single day being here. I don't think that it's right that these youth don't have a place to go. So the fact that here they have a place to go during the day helps me sleep at night a little bit.
Kearney says she won't fully rest until she knows homeless youth have a safe place to stay at night in our community. And that conversation is already in the works with Youth Era. For now, homeless youth can come here and, take advantage of these services. This shelter is on 14th and Olive. It's open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you're going to want to stick around because later on in our next show, we're going to talk about how an 11-year-old is raising thousands to help this cause. For now, reporting live in Eugene, I'm Cassandra Gutierrez.
All right, Cassandra, just a quick question before you head out tonight. Now, what precautions is the shelter taking against COVID-19?
Jacqueline, I'm glad you asked that. Of course, guests have to wear masks. Everyone's getting their temperatures checked before they go inside. And of course, they have to make sure that they don't have any symptoms of COVID-19.
Well, the temperatures continue to cool down again today, and we're going to enjoy a little bit below average temperatures over the next couple of days, but the heat is back on the horizon. We'll let you know when it's coming back with our full forecast.
Skycam 16 gives you a real-time look at today's weather.
Welcome back. With warmer weather conditions, the DFPA will increase fire danger to high starting tomorrow in Douglas County. That means some activities are restricted from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. Now, this includes cutting, trimming, or mowing of dried or cured grass. The restriction does not apply to the mowing of green lawns. Cutting, grinding, welding, and the use of power saws or power-driven machinery is also restricted.
And now, Alan Matthews with weather.
Well, we start out by taking a live look at from Blanton Heights this evening, and the weather today, well, it's kind of what we were expecting yesterday, so it looks like we got a little bit of delay in the cooler temperatures. And even though things did cool down yesterday, again, quite not the drop that we were looking at. We are going to be looking at a mix of sun and clouds to get your day off to a start on Friday, but it's still going to be mild out there for Friday and Saturday. The dry conditions will continue. We'll be looking for plenty of sunshine over the weekend, but we are going to get back into the 90s starting on Sunday. Now, temperatures right now, this is pretty nice. I've seen the 81-degree reading in Eugene, Corvallis in the upper 70s at 78, Roseburg right now at 83. You head out to the coast with that 61 in Florence, 64 right now in North Bend. As far as our temperature change is concerned, 6 degrees cooler than we were yesterday in both Eugene and Roseburg, 5 degrees cooler in Corvallis. You see that 23 in Newport. They were having a little bit of technical issue with their equipment yesterday, so their temperature readings weren't exactly in line with what was happening up there. Now, as far as our monthly precipitation is concerned, our average for this point is usually about 4/10 of an inch, and we haven't gotten any rainfall so far. And as far as the seasonal total is concerned, that 25.01 inches, that actually goes back to the meteorological start of the year, which is October the 1st. So basically, we're about 19 inches below that point, and we're over 8 inches below our average at this point in the year. So again, it has been very dry out there. Not a lot to show you with the radar satellite light right now. A little bit of cloud cover off the coast. We are looking at clear skies inland, and that's going to be what we're going to expect for the upcoming weekend. Now, right now, we've got the upper level disturbances that have moved through the area. That continues to bring that mild air into the region, but you see that high pressure lingering off the coast. And as we get to the close of the weekend, it's going to start pushing that hotter air into our area, and those temperatures are going to warm up quite a bit as we finish out on Sunday, finish out the weekend on Sunday. Over the next 48 hours, we'll see the cloud cover build up again late tonight into your Friday morning. As we get into Friday afternoon, things should clear out, and we should be looking at a mostly sunny sky for you on Saturday as well. As we check your forecast, temperatures pretty much in line with what we saw today. Looking for our highs in the Willamette Valley in the upper 70s to low 80s. Overnight lows in the low to mid 50s. We look ahead to the weekend for Eugene and Springfield. Those temperatures in the low 80s on Saturday, but then the hot weather moves in for Sunday. Temperatures in the mid 90s for both Sunday and Monday before things cool down about Wednesday, Thursday of next week. For the South Coast, you're generally looking at highs in the mid to upper 60s, your overnight lows in the low 50s. You'll also be looking at a little bit of cloud cover to get your day off to a start. Temperatures in the upper 60s on Saturday, low 70s on Sunday, and you'll stay in the low 70s to kick off next week. And as we head to the Umpqua Valley, temperatures overnight in the mid 50s, highs tomorrow in the low 80s. But as we look ahead to your weekend, Roseburg, it's getting really hot down there. Mid 80s on Saturday, mid 90s on Sunday and Monday. You'll finally get back down into the upper 80s for Wednesday and Thursday. So again, temperatures did drop nicely today. It's just that we were expecting that 10-degree drop yesterday, and instead it just kind of did it incrementally. So we got like 4 or 5 degrees yesterday, another 5 or 6 degrees today. So we finally got there. It just took us an extra day to do it.
Exactly, until we heat back up again, right?
Which we will do, but thankfully we cool back down. But August is generally our hottest month of the year, so yeah, brace yourself.
I was just going to say the same thing. All right, Alan, thank you. Well, coming up on NBC 16 at 5, 2 local disc golfers started a nonprofit to help the next generation of golfers learn more how they're expanding during coronavirus.
At Eugene Mattress, we're taking this crisis seriously.
Now, NBC 16 Sports.
All right, well, welcome back. 2 local world champion disc golfers have spent the last 3 years building a nonprofit that enhances the health and well-being of others through the sport. NBC 16's Maria Santora shows us how the duo has continued teaching and building the disc golf community safely during the pandemic.
You have a great drive or a great upshot, and then you make that long putt or even a short putt, because either way it feels great.
Finding joy through the sport was part of pro disc golfer Zoe Andike's mission back in 2017 when she founded the nonprofit Universal Play Disc Golf.
Last year I was named the 2019 Professional Disc Golf Association Educator of the Year, and the fact that I started a nonprofit that was completely dedicated toward teaching and growing the game on a youth and women's level, I would say that that's my world championship right there.
Plus, in a sport where men make up 92% of the playing field and women only 8%,
and then we let go at 180 degrees.
Zoe and her training partner set out to change that
and follow it through.
I play against 100 people, she's playing against 10. This is something we really need to focus on. We really need to grow the awareness that women can do this too and are just as good.
The duo has since developed 4 women's leagues around the state, inspiring the next generation of disc golfers.
After meeting Zoe, it was especially validating too, because I was like, oh my gosh, there's this other awesome woman out here playing disc golf, I can do this.
And setting record numbers.
I had the most participation last week. I had 19 women at our Friday league, and it's incredible. It's a number I wasn't sure we would ever get to, and now I'm optimistic that maybe I can get up to 30.
Zoe welcomes newcomers of all ages and all skill levels and touches the lives of each one.
It just meant a lot to have someone believe in me as much as she has.
To see these young women, their expressions on their face and how much they look up to Zoe, it's wonderful. How could you not try to just make that happen as much as possible?
Because after 15 years and multiple world championships, Zoe knows what the sport can do for others.
People will smile or laugh or exert energy in a positive way outside for sure if they play disc golf, and that's going to make you healthier and happier any day you choose to do it. So I'm just really, really thankful that we're able to give a gift.
All right, cute story, Maria. Thank you. Well, Alton Baker Park Golfer offers free disc golf for children 12 and under when accompanied by an adult. And if you'd like more information on Universal Play disc golf events and leagues, you can visit youplaydiscgolf.org. All right, well, a topic that we've been discussing in the newsroom ad nauseum, release the Kraken. Seattle's new NHL team finally has a name. It was a decision that fans and supporters got to weigh in on. In all, 1,200 names, though, were considered. The franchise wanted a name that connected to Seattle's maritime heritage and the mystery of the sea. This is an announcement that many have waited for since the NHL approved Seattle as the 32nd franchise in December of 2018. The team's colors and logos were also revealed, icy blue and navy blue with sharp red accents. The Seattle Kraken's home jersey was also released. The Seattle Kraken are expected to hit the ice in the Climate Pledge Arena in October 2021. And after more than 250 long days, baseball is back. The first game is happening right now between the world champion Washington Nationals and the New York Yankees. Major League Baseball will have a shortened 60-game season. So, Alan, I don't know. I'm not much of a baseball fan, to be honest, but I do like sports in general, and I can just relate to George Carlin's baseball versus football.
You mean in football they wear a helmet. In baseball, it's a cap.
Right, exactly.
The goal in baseball is to be home. Make it safe. I want to be safe at home. Is that the thing you're talking about?
That's exactly what I'm referring to.
I'm a huge baseball fan, too, so I've been looking so forward to this day. So I'm so glad it's finally here, even though it is only 60 days.
Sure. Okay. All right, Alan, thank you. Well, coming up next on your only local news at 5:30, weeks of ongoing protests in Portland continue. We ask UO professors for their thoughts on the matter. Plus, the debate over police reform continues nationwide. A former police officer and state senator has both perspectives.
If you've been injured through no fault of your own, make Schlesinger and DeVille.
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 5:30.